this is Ilina and welcome to another LDRS creative card video. Today I will show you how to use scraps in a creative way along with a stamp set that has coloring images, but we're going to use it to emboss and not color. So I have here a bunch of purple shade cardstock strips. I had a bunch of scraps that were left, so I decided to cut them out to 1/4 of an inch. You can do any width you would like, but I thought the 1/4 inch will fit perfectly. Well, the sentiment that I will stamp would fit perfectly on that 1/4 inch strip. Also, I have a piece of gray cardstock that I will trim to 5 1/4 by 4 for a panel for A2 card. So it's a little bit smaller than the A2 card because I'll adhere it to a white note card. Also, I'll use 4 strips, so that means that I will need to cut about an inch from the middle of the card. So I'm going, as you can see here, the strips are 1/4 inch, so if we have 4, that will give us 1 inch. So I'm cutting it about 4 inches, and I'll save that bottom piece that I just cut off. And then I'll move the cardstock to the 3-inch mark and I'll cut a 3. So I'll remove that middle piece, so that's where our strips will go. So to assemble this panel, I will use a white cardstock panel that also trim down to 4 by 5 1/4. And also this will give us nice and sturdy background to adhere on our note card. So there is my white panel that's 4 by 5 1/4. So now let's move to assembling that panel. First I'll start from the top and I'm adhering the larger gray piece that goes on the top. This is like 3-inch wide. Well, 3-inch tall, not wide, it's 4 inches wide. So I'm using strong adhesive on the back and I'll line it up to the top of that white panel. Just making sure that it's nice and straight and lines up perfectly. And next I'll use liquid adhesive to adhere the strips. So I'm just positioning to see how I want to order them. I decided to go from lightest to darkest and then the bottom gray strip. So I'm adding some liquid adhesive and I'll adhere one strip at a time. So I'll add more adhesive as I move down. So next I'll do the second strip, and the third and the fourth. So now we're gonna go with the little bit more adhesive to add the darkest purple cardstock strip. I'm just making sure that they're nice and snug next to each other, that I don't have space in between. And now we'll just adhere that last gray strip on the bottom. I'll put some heavy weight object, in this case acrylic block, and I'll let that dry. I'm just trying to decide which Stampin' Sentiment I want to use. I decided to use the large hydrangea and sending happy mail. So now I'm going with my paper trimmer and I'm trimming off those the excess from the strips. Trying to position in my stamping tool where I want that image to go. Before I stamped, I decided to use my heat tool to make sure that the adhesive is nice and dry. So I'm using it on a low setting. This setting won't emboss, it will just dry your ink or glue. I'm adding some anti-static powder tool since I'll be embossing with white embossing powder. It's very useful to not have speckles of white embossing powder all over your card front. I'm using the Watermark ink to stamp a couple times onto the panel. Next I'll use white embossing powder to pour all over the stamped image. And I make sure that I flick off the excess. Next, I will use my heat tool on the high setting to emboss, but before I go to embossing, I will make sure that it's nice and hot before I go onto my panel. So we have that embossed. Now I will put back my panel in my stamping positioning tool, and I'll line up that sentiment. First, I thought I'll stamp it on the darkest to have more contrast, but I decided to go second to the darkest stripe. And again, I'm using the Watermark ink from LDRS Creative to stamp that sentiment a couple times. Again, I'll go back with the white embossing powder, apply it over the sentiment, flick off the excess, and heat set it. Now for finishing touch, I'm adding some enamel dots. I'm using purple shades to match with the strips. And now what we're left is just to assemble our card. So I'm using some craft foam to add some dimension and a white top folding note card. Just adding adhesive on the back of that craft foam and adhering it to my note card. Just making sure it's nice and straight, and here's our finished card. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to click on that like button if you like this video, and also subscribe to the LDRS Creative YouTube channel, and also visit our blog for more ideas and more inspiration. Thanks for watching. Bye!